It's time once again for your Maple Grove update. I'm Dave Kaiser from Northwest Community Television. Thanks for joining us. In the next half hour, a recap of the November 18th council meeting and a look at what's new in Maple Grove. All next on the Maple Grove City Report. And thank you once again for joining us on the Maple Grove City Report, joined by Al Madsen, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome again, Al.
Thank you, Dave.
In the spirit of the holiday season, Al has brought some pie to share, but not the kind of pie that we're going to eat at Thanksgiving or Christmas. This is a pie chart about some numbers and budget information from Maple Grove. We'll get to that in a few minutes, but Al, take us through some of the things happening right now in Maple Grove.
Well, at the particular moment, we've issued 216 single-family building permits versus 203 last year. I kind of thought maybe at this time we'd be around 225 or 230, but 216 is certainly good. There's still time left.
Oh, yes.
This is just single-family. This doesn't include, the multifamily housing that's taking place in our gravel mining area. And so, phase one of Sky is 220 plus. Phase one of Botnell Ridge is 50 of 100. Silvercrest will be coming in with their senior project, which will be about 190 phase one. So there's a lot of activity going on in that area. Now, I've had a number of calls from residents. Why is that building going up without windows?
Okay, that's a valid question.
It is, yes. That is the parking. That's the parking structure, and that's at the Sky Barber Lakes. And then they build their apartment complex around it.
Sure.
So, but it
does look a little strange,
yes,
I agree.
Yes, it really does, sure, you bet. We have two more farmers markets coming up in December, and then I think we'll give Carol and Kirsten a rest for a few months. Yes, for a few months. Highway 610. How many times have we talked about that over the years?
I've lost probably 610 at least.
Absolutely right. The Corridors of Congress program, which the legislature adopted last session, has earmarked $300 million in bonding. Of that, 150 is for the metro area, and 150 is for outside the metro area. We are thrilled that $131 million has been approved for 610. Now, we still need about another 50, but that $131 million gets us, from where we are right now. There's 2.5 miles left.
Right.
And it'll get us to I-94. We still need to have some money for the offshoot roads, but this is phenomenal. We've been working on this for so many years, and so now to have the $131 million to get the last 2.5 miles done is fabulous.
Maybe the next time we meet, we can bring in a few maps, because they've all gathered dust over the years that it was planned and then have been sitting in the back. But for people's information, obviously it's connecting where it meets up with Jefferson High, with 81. But then where exactly does it come across and meet up with 94? For people that haven't seen that or been familiar with that, where will this eventually be turning and meeting 94?
Be out, I would say, somewhere around 101st. They're also part of that corridor of commerce funding. I think there's work that's going to be scheduled for the Brockton Lane interchange, 105th. But that's a good idea. We'll bring a map the next time.
Yeah.
The location of 610 has kind of been adjusted from time to time.
Right.
And so I think that it'd be good, yes, to show.
But it is firm now of where it's going to be in the latest and greatest plan, or is firm not a good thing to say with road construction?
Well, I think it is, yes.
Okay.
I think that what you see now on the plans is that's where 610 will be, yes.
Good.
Last 2.5 miles. That's been
right.
a long, long time. So.
Catch us in December and we'll have some of that information for you.
Right. We did have, my assessing departments stated that we are having an increase in 2014 of residential values.
Good
Overall residential probably is going to, values, is going to go up about 8%. For some reason, townhomes are going up 14%, but then other forms of residential are less, and so it averages out to be a little over 8%. And which is, it's good because, you know, for the way the economy has been for quite a number of years, values have been inching downward. Well, now we're starting to see values are creeping up. I met with about 70 or 75 Keller Williams realtors a couple days ago, and we're showing, and I think they were in consensus, we're showing that I think it was in August, the average number of days that a house was on the market was 53 days. A year from that, or before that, it was about 200 plus. And so,
Sure.
and so I'm sure that we'll take a look at the September, October numbers, and we'll see that continues to move downwards.
Right.
So, and obviously, that's good if you're selling your home, and if you're a realtor.
That's
you know,
right.
don't
The
just-
tax end is the other side of the puzzle, and we'll talk a little bit about
Right.
the tax end, but we can tell you we have some good news on that end as well.
We do, although I did frighten the realtors when
I can't imagine that.
when I gave them a presentation, and I started out by saying, real estate taxes are going to go up horrendously. It's just
You got
a
their
silence.
attention. They were listening to you
Yeah,
then.
it's just a silence in the room. But yes, we have the 2014 budget, which the formal public hearing will be at the December 2 council meeting. The council has reviewed and brings forth a proposed 2014 budget. The beauty of it is it shows real estate taxes in Maple Grove will go up about 72 cents per year, not a month, 72 cents a year. And so when I added that to my comment to the realtors,
They stopped
didn't-
sweating.
They didn't throw me out, right?
All right, we'll
So-
get back to a little more on the budget in a few minutes.
The couple of other things, the number of industrial inquiries is really picking up. That's been kind of quiet for a while, and all of a sudden in the last couple of months, and that's a good segment of the industry, and I'm very, very happy that
Certainly.
that is starting to pick up. So.
And that would be inquiries into existing buildings and also inquiries into some of the open space that's still left in Maple
Correct,
Grove?
correct.
One more than the other, what are you finding?
Right now, it is inquiries more for land to put up a new building.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's a very good
Yes.
thing. So, the Historical Society held an open house a couple weeks ago on a Sunday, and well attended. And I think that's just a good opportunity for them to, display different historical things, and then just get the message out that some people think, well, Maple Grove is too young of a city to have a historical preservation society. And that's not the case. We have a lot of history in this city that does need to be preserved, and so I encourage anybody that has an interest in history, consider joining the Historical Society. It's just a great, great group. So.
And they're pretty proud of their new space. Tell
Oh,
us again
yes.
a little bit about their space and some of the gems that they're finding room for to show off a little bit. Where is that?
Well, it is at Forest View Lane. It's we put up a new public works facility, and so the old portion, which is to the east, that was the lunchroom and the office for our old public works
Right.
workers. Now that's been turned into a museum for the Historical Society, and there's an office in there for them as well. We'll gradually be vacating storage area that's was in our mechanics area, and then we'll be able to move a lot of historical artifacts into there as
Wonderful.
well. So they love it. There's just no doubt about that, and it's a wide range of historical items. It's
And
fascinating.
do they have regular hours there, or if people are
No.
interested in seeing this, what's the process to maybe get in touch with someone to stop by?
We do not have regular hours, no. We do hold open houses periodically. But if someone does want to go there, we can certainly do it by appointment.
Okay.
That's not a problem at all. So.
Very good.
But it's really a great collection of a variety of different things. They still have, in the lower level of our government center, they have a storage room there that's climate controlled, where they do their inventory and and cataloging, and so they still have that, and so there's still a lot of stuff there. So, and we have display cases
Right.
on the first level of the government center. So, so I encourage anybody to give serious thought to the historic, even if you don't want to join, just come and see what is in the museum. So. I think that's about it. As I mentioned, the residential values are going up. We did have a special council meeting before the regular meeting, and the purpose of that was to talk about the proposed 2014 budget. And the council, I think, is very pleased with what's been put together for review at the formal meeting, December 2. I want to compliment all of my department directors. Their due diligence, they worked very hard. Not only staying within reason on the 2013 budget, but when we're doing the numbers for 2014, I want to compliment all of my department directors for proper due diligence and holding the line, and so it makes my job a lot easier when they do that. So.
Very good. Before we get to the pie here, just a question. When you ask the general public about a city budget, do they have much of a concept of what all goes into a city budget, or do they understand? We're going to see the pie chart in a minute, and again, some of the pieces that fit in the pie, and there's about 6, 8 pieces of the pie. Does the public understand that, of all the different parts, or do they think that the city is one big pie and one big budget?
Oh, that's a great question. First of all, a lot of the residents think that 100 cents on every buck in taxes goes to the city. Not the case. You got the school district in there, you got Hennepin County in there, you got the mosquito control division. I mean, you got all kinds of other governmental agencies that are taking a part of that $1, and so you do have some that do understand it. You do have most folks that just think, well, it's just one big pie. But we have to divide it up because we have a number of departments, for example, Public Works and Public Safety. Those are a huge portion of any city's budget. And so it's sometimes you'll show the information to somebody and their eyes might gloss over a little bit, but we try to keep it as simple as possible. But you're right, a lot of folks just think, oh, it's just one big pie.
Right.
And that's why we do carve it up so that people can see the different departments as to where the tax dollar's going.
They drive by the government center or the public safety facility and think that's where all my money's going, but they don't think, I step outside my door and there's the street. That's where some of that money's going, or I look in my backyard and there's a park next door to me.
Absolutely.
And that's where some of my money is going as well.
So.
All right, let's take a look at the pie. We promised pie from Al, and here's the pie of the day. I'm not sure what kind it is, but let's take a look at the pie here. And you mentioned the bottom 2 parts of the pie. Obviously, you add those 2 together, and that's over half of your city budget.
Right, there's no doubt about that. And then, we are very fortunate to have a tremendous park program in this city, trails, lakes, parks. And so you can see that 15.1% of the money that Maple Grove receives out of every dollar goes to that. Debt service is 5.3%. Now, that is extremely low for a city of our size and the fact that we're growing. So that's a very, very nice
And explain
percentage.
a little bit further what that is, because I think most people obviously understand what debt service is, but for a city, you have debt. What type of debt do you have, and how do you pay that off?
We have debt, for example, the extension of streets and sewer and water and things like that. That's the kind of debt that, because we are a developing city. The beauty part is that sometimes you bond for it, and then the special assessments that come in offset the payment of those bonds. Sometimes you may have some developers, sometimes that their banker may say, I don't want any special assessments at all. They got to then pay it everything in full.
Right.
But 5.3% is really a relatively small level of debt service, and I think that's one of many reasons why we have a AAA bond rating, and that was just reaffirmed as a AAA. And I think it's also one of the reasons why Maple Grove was picked as one of the top cities in America to live. And so that it all comes into play.
So keeping that piece of the pie small helps in all of the other areas when you need to buy new equipment or do some things that are big investments for the city. Again, that bond rating will help out in the final picture, which helps the residents then because it keeps the taxes low.
Absolutely right. You summed that up very, very nicely.
I've been listening over the years. You've been training me in on this.
We do have, you know, a long-term development fund that's established because at some point in time, you know, we need to replace maybe a sewer line or water line or something because as the city ages, so does, you know, the infrastructure. And so we have that. We take very, very strong caution in establishing replacement funds because we have vehicles also that age and it's time to get rid of those. And so we have a nice replacement fund that we always plan for so that we're not always having to go out and spend a lot of money. We got that replacement established, and so that also helps us a lot.
Very good.
One item on there is road reconstruction. Is 3.3%. Maple Grove is probably well, I'm gonna say we're better than other cities, but when it comes to reconstruction, we view this as a not only benefit to the residents, but the city goes 50-50 on the assessments to, you know, roads run, you know, their lifespan runs out, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, whatever. So we need to go in and do the street reconstruction. So we either assess the property owner for 50% of the cost, and then the city picks up the other 50%, or if the property owner wants to pay it off entirely, you know, for their particular lot, they can do that. So our street reconstruction program has been very successful. One thing that really helps our residents is that we go in and we say, okay, this is what it's going to cost to do the reconstruction. If the price tag comes in higher than that, the city pays for that. So the 50-50 may end up, who knows, being 60-40 with the city picking 60 and the residents picking 40. So general government, that's you know, that's a whole wide range of services. Now the budget for general government fluctuates because it's tied into elections.
Okay.
So if we look at the general government budget right now, it would be higher than it was last year because we did not have elections last year. So you'll find that that'll kind of bop up and down, again, part of it tied into to the elections. And so it's I feel that it's a very, very, very fair, very responsible budget, and the fact that I think that at least 75% of our residents are going to be seeing a tax decrease. And again, those that have an increase is going to be relatively small. So I think it's a good plan that's been put together for 2014. I think the council has been very responsible. And I think those that want to come to the December 2nd meeting, it's a public hearing.
Right.
So they can, it's required by state law, so they can come and they can voice their opinion about the budget. Keep in mind that the budget is not formally adopted on December 2nd. That's the public hearing.
Right.
People can come and express their views. Then at the following city council meeting, that's when the formal 2014 budget is adopted. So the December 2nd is you know, come and express your views and either in support or not. So overall, it's a good budget.
If we can hop back to the pie one more time, guys, just to ask you a question. Has the makeup of the pie changed much for Maple Grove in the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? How have things evolved, or would this be very similar to if we looked back to 2000?
If you go back that far to 2000, you would see public works and public safety would be a smaller portion of it. As we continue to grow, there's more roads to plow, there's more roads to maintain. And so I think you would find public works would be a little thinner. You'd also see public safety is thinner because we wouldn't need to have as many police officers and things like that. So Park and recreation probably would be a little thinner because we back then 13 years ago we wouldn't have been developing parks.
Right.
The debt service probably was might have been a little higher back then because again we were doing the assessments and we had bonds to pay and things like that. General government, we really haven't changed much in the general government. That's it's the elections is always the one that kind of skews things, but overall, as far as employees, Maple Grove is the old adage that a mean machine, lean machine, but it's true for a city of our size and developing as we are. We have about 250 full-time employees. That is, I think, very, very low, but we're able to provide all the services that our residents want. So,
Final question on the pie would be, let's look 15 years into the future. Will the pie change again?
it will, yes. Public Works certainly will increase. They'll have a bigger piece because there we go back to more roads and things to maintain. Public safety will increase because we're going to need more police officers and law enforcement. I don't think that public safety is going to increase that much.
Okay.
But the big one would be Public Works because 15 years from now, we could have most of the city built out.
Right.
And we're going to have just a lot of roads that have to be maintained. They got to be plowed. They got to be, worked on, paving and things like that. So I think the one item in there that you'll see moving upward will be Public Works.
All right, so there's some discussion for you to have over your Thanksgiving and Christmas pie, is the pie of the city and how that breaks down. And certainly if there are questions about that, come to that hearing on December 2nd.
Absolutely.
Or certainly the city, through phone numbers or through the website, can answer some of those questions. All right, we have a council agenda in front of us. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Council meeting was nice and smooth. It was 15 minutes long. We did have most of the items were on consent. The city, as we've talked about in the past, and the school district and the Osseo Maple Grove Basketball Association has been working in a partnership for the addition of 3 gyms attached to the Maple Grove Junior High. And so the council Monday night did approve a joint powers agreement for all of us. And then work is, the design work is going on. This spring, we'll start to see actual construction work going on. There will be 3 gyms attached to the junior high. There are 2 there now, so there will be a total of 5 gyms at the Maple Grove Junior High. That is going to give the Basketball Association a tremendous opportunity to host a lot more tournaments than they have been able to do.
Right.
So it's a good thing for the Basketball Association. So
No additional parking involved with that?
Yes.
The parking that is there can handle what might be coming in the future?
there is additional parking.
There is additional parking.
We've incorporated additional parking, and the tennis courts there, they'll be removed, but temporarily, and then they're coming back.
Okay.
So, but yes, there will be additional parking and and lighting and things like that.
Okay.
So, the only item we had on discussion item was the Highlands of Rush Creek, and that's over by Rush Creek Golf Course. It's a relatively small subdivision that went through the Planning Commission with no issues and went through the City Council with no issues. So we're starting to see maybe a downturn in some of the subdivisions. Again, part of it's weather. It picks up and then it tends to die down a little bit. In the spring, we'll see some more. So, anyway, that was approved unanimously. There certainly is no issue with that one at all. So, not a problem. We're working with, as I said earlier, a number of businesses that number one, some would like to expand into Maple Grove. Some are now here, and they want to stay in Maple Grove, and I'm doing my very, very best to keep them here.
Right.
So, again, it was a smooth meeting. It got over in 15 minutes, and everything went fine.
Speaking of some of the construction going on at some of the businesses, SciMed Seems to be coming along very well. I wondered as I drove by and looked over there thinking, now how can they expand that? That doesn't look like that much space, but they're doing a huge addition to that building.
They are, as is Upshur Smith on the other side of the freeway. But yeah, it's interesting. SciMed, Boston Scientific. It seems like they're always expanding. They're always in for a building permit, and so it's amazing. And then Upshur Smith, which is on the east side,
Right.
494, they're adding 121,000 square feet. So they're going to add. I mean, it's a great addition. So we're happy about that. That's when they got their approval for the original building. They did kind of do a ghost plat where they showed where the expansion would be. So, and now they're coming through. So yeah, there's a lot of.
Will that be the final build out on that property, or is there more space hidden somewhere that we can't see that they might expand even further?
Well, I think it's possible that they could expand at the north end of their building. My thought is this is probably going to be as big as it gets, because this would probably put them at maybe around 250,000 square feet. So who knows? Maybe business is good, and so maybe they will take a look at something a little bit north. The parcel on the east side, they're maxing that out.
Right.
But there is still some area toward the north, toward our water tower, that area there. So.
And a little news for people up around the Maple Grove Hospital in that area. The parking area is continuing to move ahead, so people can begin to use that in greater use. And as the snow starts to fly, you'll be okay. And also Haskell's in that area. Give us an update on those two spots. In that
Haskell's is moving into vacant space next to Target. It's about a 20,000 square foot. It's the largest wine store in the state of Minnesota. I read an article where this is becoming somewhat common as mega wine stores, and so Haskell's will clearly be the largest. And so they, yes, they're going into that vacant space that's been sitting next to Target for quite some time. The Parkway Station, we're getting very close to completing that. That should be ready for all of our commuters to move into probably December 10 or sooner.
Okay.
And that's going to be a nice addition there. But we thank Slumberland very much, as well as Ryan Companies, for the spirit of cooperation, because we needed to use their vacant land to bring our commuters over there while we're goofing up the whole Parkway Station. But now it's coming together, so
very good.
Yeah, it'll be a nice addition.
Quickly over to the shops area, just a couple things to mention. I know we had talked a show or two ago about bakery goods, that people who are interested in bakery items might have a new place to go. How is that moving along?
Patrick's Bakery and Restaurant is going to be taking the space that formerly was California Pizza Kitchen. And so they'll be moving in there. Work has started. So permit has been granted to do all the interior renovations. Teresa Kitchen, which is on County Road 30 there, across from Rainbow, they should be getting ready to open their doors.
Excellent.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that are, people say, well, gosh, you got some big vacant spots. Well, there are, but they're gradually filling in. And again, our retail vacancy rate is around 6%, which is very low for a large growing community like us. So we'll find there's a user that might be taking part of Gander Mountain.
Okay.
And not all of it, but part of it. Word is there could be a user coming in where World Market was.
Okay, good. I was going to ask
So
that.
we're working with a number of different users.
All right,
So-
very good, Al. Well, thanks for the trip around
you.
town and the
Thank you.
pie for the holidays here.
Right.
We will leave you with information if you want to contact Al or City Hall, find out more information. The next meeting, by the way, is December 2nd, 7:30 at the Government Center. 494-6000, the phone number to call, and up at the top, maplegrovemn.gov, the website to the city. If you have any questions or are looking for some information, they can certainly help you there. If you have questions or comments about the program, 533-1710 is our viewer response line. And if we forget to bring out the map of 610 next time, call us, but we will do our best to remember to give you a little 610 overview at the next show. For Al Madsen, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the Maple Grove City Report.